Paulo, I wonder if, from your book, you talk about the old system and the new system,
Yes.
and I thought Old Testament, New Testament, but how is leadership constructed now? Just explain to us a bit about that.
Okay.
Classical leadership. I mean,
Classical
yeah.
leadership. So, the way that it tends to be structured is there is a person at the top who either got there because they're the person who started the thing, or because they inherited the thing, or through sheer charisma and force of nature and will, they're in charge of the thing. And we call that person the leader.
Yes.
And then what happens in organizations is that they go, okay, because this person who started the thing, or this person who's leading the thing, or this person who used to lead the thing that we remember, they had these qualities, they had this kind of whatever. How can we create systems to reproduce that thing? And so what they do is they create leadership tracks. They create, because the conditions that propelled the person to the top do not exist anymore, the best that we can do is create a simulation. So we say
And they don't exist because
they don't exist just because
organization is in a
time
different
moves
time,
forward.
Yes. So you're no longer in the place you were.
Yes.
When that emerged. Okay.
Yeah. For example, if you think about Uganda 10 years ago,
Yeah. It's a very
and 10
different
years now, it's a very
Uganda.
different Uganda. If you think
Yes.
about Canada 10 years ago, it's a very different Canada
Yeah.
from now. But if let's say I'm the charismatic leader and I've been in leadership for 10 years, there's no way to simulate the conditions that got me to.
Absolutely
There's
not.
no way to get the exact conditions. So what we do is we create a simulation. We say these are the books you need to read. These are the things you need to learn. These are the challenges you need to go through and whatever. And once you have passed through those things, then we feel we have
Yes.
put inside of you all the
Yes.
information that you need in order to lead in this organization, or to lead in this context, or to lead in something similar. But I contend that in the process of doing that, what you're doing is you're doing your best. Anybody who's tried to come up with a leadership thing is doing their best. But what you're doing is you're creating an approximation of the original thing. And so what can inadvertently, two things can inadvertently happen. Either you can create a gauntlet of steps and systems that someone needs to go through that are so arduous that the previous leader themselves didn't have to go through. And the person who survives the gauntlet is the one who whatever. Yes. But usually the person who survives the gauntlet is a sycophant. Is the one who learned to bend themselves into the shape that you wanted, who learned to say the things that the system was wanting them to say, to come out saying. So that's one that emerges. The other that emerges, in my opinion, is the other one that emerges, in my opinion, is an approximation, and sometimes not even a good approximation. They may have all the mannerisms, all the inflections. They may dress the same. They may schmooze in the same way. They may have all the corporate and organizational jargon down pat.
Yes.
But they lack that original thing that you were trying to create when you started out these leadership programs. A lot of leadership programs, in my opinion, are doing this. They have a leader-shaped person or box that they're trying to fit people into. But that leadership box was informed by a person or by something, experiences that no longer exist. So all we can do is approximate. And our best intentions, because the march of time is inevitable. And every leader understands that at some point they're not going to be in the thing.
Yeah.
So they're like, maybe I should raise up my successors. That's a good impulse, a good instinct. Maybe they're like, you know what, the thing that I built is not going to survive in the future. Someone needs to come and take it over and move us into the future. And so they create the leadership programs based on all these good instincts.
Yes.
But good instincts are not enough.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening, and we see it over and over again, is you get one leader who gets succeeded by an approximation, who gets succeeded by another approximation, and the further down the line you go, you get a less and less and less effective leader who still apes the organization, the organizational things that are supposed to be done or whatever, who still speaks in the language of the organizational company that they're in, but who's no longer as effective as the people that we were trying to approximate in the first sense.
Yes.
So, for example, in the book, I give the example of Firestone.
Yep.
Firestone is a company that was mired in decades and decades of reproducing the same kind of leaders, of promoting the same kind of people, of promoting the same shape people. They have different names, they have different genders,
Yes,
blah, blah,
yes,
blah.
yes, yes, yes.
But they were training for a very specific organizational culture, and all they were doing was creating facsimiles of the same thing. And you know what happens when you photocopy the same thing or you fax the same thing? It becomes a poor imitation of the other.
Less and less clear.
Yeah, less and less clear.
Yes,
and
as
so
the
you
ink
can
runs out.
you can see it in political movements. You can see it in whatever. That guy speaks with, that guy he speaks with Nelson Mandela's cadence and whatever. But is he a Nelson Mandela? No. He's Nelson Mandela shaped. Or
Even
whatever.
wears the shirts.
Yes, the Kaunda. We have the Kaunda suits based on
yes,
Kaunda.
Kaunda, yes.
And how many people have shaped themselves in Kaunda's shape, but they don't carry the gravitas or the whatever. So that's what I've seen. And now, because of the sophistication of our leadership tools, not only do we create bad facsimiles, I feel like what we're seeing these days more and more of is the emergence of also sycophants. The people who just know how to say the right things and whatever, and but they are a little more. They're not as circumspect. Because their leadership is not forged because their leadership is forged in leadership programs, not in human to human contact. They are very dogmatic, or they're very unyielding. They can be autocratic, or they can carry autocratic impulses.
Tendencies, yeah.
And so we are in a world where we're seeing that emergence in a very real way on the political stage. Not to get too political here, but even inside larger organizations, even inside smaller organizations, you can see kind of that thing happening.
Wow. So you're saying, since it's this way and it produces those kinds of results,
Yes.
there is another way
Yes.
also.
Yes.
So name that way for us.
So this is the whole premise of the accidental leader. Is unfortunately those systems will eventually break down. That is an unfortunate consequence of creating a leadership pipeline and having and going so deep inside of it that you cannot see outside the walls of it, that you end up producing the same kind of.
It's an echo chamber.
Yes, you've pulled the word right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You've created an echo chamber, and you have an inability to see outside of it or to hear outside of it. Eventually, and for some companies, like I gave the example of Firestone. Now, Firestone's collapse didn't happen all at once or immediately. It took decades. It took decades and decades and decades. They produced tires for how long? They even produced weapons. I was in the War Museum in Washington D.C. in Virginia, and there are these big missiles with Firestone written on them. So Firestone was a giant company, not just making tires. They made war machinery. But over time, over decades, the erosion happened, and the erosion happened because, in my opinion, there was a leadership hole that was starting to form. There was an erosion underneath, and it took a while for everything to fall through that. So, unfortunately, for a lot of organizations, companies, movements, they have to go through that process of erosion and collapse. For some of them, it happens quickly. Others, it happens slowly. And in that collapse, a new leader emerges. And I call them an accidental leader because they're usually not the one who was in the grooming pipeline.
Yes.
They're usually sort of someone who was standing off to the side going, I think we should do things differently. And they were told to shut up and sit down. I think we're ignoring this thing. And they're told to shut up and sit down. Like one of the most celebrated entrepreneurs of the last 40, 50 years is Steve Jobs. What people don't know is that Steve Jobs was working at Xerox before. And he had all his Steve Jobs ideas in his head.
That place.
Yes. And he tried to do them.
Yes.
And they said, no, go sit down, young man.
Yeah.
So he left
Yeah.
and started this giant company.
Yes.
And that swallowed, that has eclipsed
Literally.
Xerox.
Literally.
Him and his friend Steve Wozniak were there.
Yeah.
And so you think about that and you see it repeating itself over and over again inside of these big organizations, inside of, or even smaller, mid-sized, small organizations.
Yeah. I think it's up and down the chain.
Yes, up and down the chain. You see that erosion of leadership, and you see that in the collapse, someone else emerges, someone who saw something different, someone who had an instinct about something different. They usually tend to be reluctant. They usually tend to be not sycophantic because they're not trying to bend themselves into the leadership box that you've been trying to groom people through.
Because anyway, they don't see themselves as that.
No,
so
they don't
they're
see
not even
themselves
trying.
as that.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So
But are you saying, Paul, that
yes,
as this thing is collapsing,
yes,
and the emergence of the new,
yes.
it necessarily can only take shape when it leaves the thing that is, or it can stay
Yes.
and help rebuild this which is falling apart?
It can stay. My opinion, and I think this is because of my Christian background, my opinion is that it can stay and help rebuild. But people's pride gets
in
the
the
better
way,
of them
yes.
too much. And they hold so tightly to what was.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you think about sort of mid-sized organizations or larger organizations, not only do they have top-level leadership, they also have medium-level leadership. And the people in the middle are just as invested as the people at the top because they're trying to work themselves up.
Upward, yes.
So they've invested all this time and effort into being a certain way. Now you're
Yes.
coming in and saying, hey, maybe the culture should change, maybe we should be different, and we know that culture takes forever to change or whatever. But also I think that it can change in different ways. And here's where I see some hope for it, that it can change inside and not have to wait for the demise of the thing. So have you ever been in a meeting where we're at the table and there's a leader at the table,
Yes.
but it becomes clear to the team that maybe the project that we're working on or the initiative that we're working on, the leader person just has no clue what is going on,
Yes.
or starts to fumble the ball. Usually at those tables, there is another person, another. Let's call the person Jackie. Jackie is not the one with the leader name, but you will find that the people at the table, they defer to Jackie. Jackie, what do you think?
Yes.
When the boss starts to fumble, you can almost see them instinctively
Turn
to Jackie like, can you save us from this?
Yes.
And usually you find a person, that's an indication of an accidental leader. And sometimes they do step up and they go, okay, this is how we will fix it, blah, 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 blah. And then they make it seem as if it was the leader's idea, as the person with the title's idea.
Yes.
But what they've actually done is they've led in that point of crisis. It's a small crack. It's a small crack. It's a small indication that there's an erosion in leadership, that the leadership pipeline promoted the wrong person. So it's a small crack to say, oh, there's an accidental leader, there's someone else who's actually better equipped for this. But because they're not in the leader shape, they're sitting off to the side. So I think that if organizations, movements, companies started to pay attention to those people, when the things are starting to fray and pull apart, they go, oh, so and so led in this moment of crisis. I think that if we paid better attention, we wouldn't have to see the demise of the whole thing.
Yes,
because then we would empower those people to say, show us the way.
Yeah.
Take us to the promised land. Take us where we're supposed to go. Have you been at meetings like those? Have you been at tables like those?
I have. And what I was going to ask Paul is that, and as we land this segment, is to say, are you saying both systems? It's not either or. It's just watch out more for this type.
The accidental leader is a critique of where we are right now. I feel like we have systematized things so much. And I do call it a leadership industry or a leadership industrial complex, because that's what it is. Like, there's no end to books. And it's kind of ironic because I wrote a book.
Let me even show the audience.
I'll show mine too.
Right?
There is no end to cohorts and huddles and mentorships and whatever and all of these things and structured blah blah blah. There's no end to it. It really is a leadership industrial complex. We have systematized it so much. I think that, and I think that the instinct that it came from, I don't know what's driving it right now. Well, I have some cynical ideas about what's driving it right now. But where it started from a good place. The world is growing. People have innovated. People have been so creative. They built these large, sprawling organizations. We're a global world. We're an interconnected world. And the people who've built what is are aging out. And so there's a who's next?
Yeah.
We've built mega churches. We built mega corporations. We built mega multinational not-for-profits. We've built these interconnected, interwoven political systems. And so there's something emerging, but the people who lead it time marches on.
Yeah.
They're going to die.
Yes.
So there's a bit of we need to find the next person. We need to groom the next people. We need to groom the next people that are coming up. So it comes from a good place, but I think that, and that's why the critique is strong, because I think that in doing this, we're missing out. We're overcorrecting for one thing, and we're missing out on the ingredients that created the circumstances for the people that created this world we're in to emerge. I think that the world that we're in emerged from people who were from the margins, people who were unexpected, people who spoke in different ways or moved through the world in different ways. And because we don't know where we're going, I don't think the past is a good indicator. I don't think that over-relying on the past to train what's coming forward is necessarily wise. I think that we have to move a little more circumspect. And so it's not an abandoning completely of one. It's just saying, I think we're missing a perspective here.
Yeah.
That's the fine line that I'm trying to draw in this book.
And we will pause here because I think it calls for pause.
Yes.
Even in the organizations, leaders that we are leading right now, what are we missing? who are we missing? Yeah, from the simplest thing of how do your meetings run, are we able to see and hear those that are thinking different? Or have we shut that down?
Emerging in the cracks, emerging in the
Yeah,
moments of
yeah.
tension. Yes.